Kurt Cobain and the bass player just went into a fucking lip lock, and they just didn't go mwah. They were like sucking face. I must have been like 19 or 20, and there was some law. It was a Measure 9, and it had something to do with gay people. Something to do, I don't remember specifically like what the deal was, like maybe it was gay people or teachers or teaching students or something. I don't remember the details. But basically that shit backfired in the people that set it up in like a huge way. It backfired so hugely because the response from tolerant people and gays alike, not to say that gays aren't tolerant. So there was a concert, and the concert, the headliner was Nirvana. Don't really remember who the opening bands were. I think there was one local punk band. So at this concert, this concert, like my left shoulder has never been the same. I'm pretty sure I dislocated my shoulder at that concert. It had a mosh pit set up where there was a little trough on the front of the stage. So when you were surfing the stage, you'd get thrown up into this trough, and then if you tried to go farther, then the security would, but they would just, so they'd push you back. If you were jumping back, they'd push you and stuff. But so I had just been frickin' stage diving forever. I had like several successful stage dives at the point when I dived out. The whole crowd literally moved out from where I jumped, and then the only people there were like pushing up on my feet. So I was just like inverted, and I came down on my arm and like twisted and totally just reefed it. I mean, it wasn't, well, like I said, it's never been the same. And I think it's actually getting worse in the last few years. I've never been to a doctor for it. And like I move my arm in certain ways and just pain shoots through here. At this concert, Kurt Cobain and, yeah, there was 3 people to that band. There was Kurt, then there was the guy that went on to the Foo Fighters, and then there was the bass player that I don't know if he really ever did anything. Nothing that I was ever interested in. This was this whole concert was their No on 9. During that No on 9, or during the concert I should say, Kurt Cobain and the bass player just went into a fucking lip lock, and they just didn't go mwah. They were like sucking face. And yeah, you know, as tolerant as I am, I don't want to fucking see guys touching each other, kissing, nothing. At that concert, I think I adopted, I think maybe a little before the concert, but I had adopted this term. What I liked, the people that had and there was a shirt, and it said straight but not narrow. So I'm straight, I like chicks, but I'm not narrow-minded. Concert ruined my arm and opened my eyes. It's not ruined, it just hurts all the time when I move it the wrong way. But I mean, it's used to, it's like been what, 30 years almost or some shit. So I can deal with it. My relationship with Julie ended pretty much when, I mean, it kind of had a slow crumble to death. yeah, she was stripping and I was selling weed, and I wasn't making shit for money based on the weed prices. Just hooking up with weed was just super expensive, and then the gas, and so everything just kind of crumbled behind this house out in Malala. And I packed up everything into a 26-foot moving truck and a couple truckloads, and I moved it all to Stoggs' garage and started living there. But then he was basically stealing from me. I was like paying all the bills, and we were growing weed at his house. Like the crop came in and like he took it or something. I don't remember the details. All I remember is the bottom line is that guy owed me 10 grand when I finally was like, fuck this guy. And right about this time, I was hanging out with Diamond, my tattoo artist, and his girlfriend and my girlfriend were all like a group of friends. And Hillary introduced me to a childhood friend of hers, Gabe. So Gabe was kind of unique in that he was the first counterculture spoiled brat that I think I ever met. And what that means is that he grew up rich with a dad that was a baller, epic baller, weed smuggler, weed dealer. I met him once or twice, a few times maybe. He was a cool dude, little Italian guy, and you know, Gabe was just giving everything. His dad had the ultimate hookups, and his dad actually went to prison, and Gabe was tasked with being like the fucking pants of the family. And you know, like, here's all the connections, here's this and here's that. So Gabe, instead of taking care of the family, as the story goes, basically just like, I don't know, partied, got a coke habit, gay sex. Yeah, he was into he had a boyfriend and girlfriends. He hit on me, and that's what Hillary's thing was. Hillary was all into the gay guys. Some chicks, that's hot to him, like it's hot to me to see chicks together. So it's like hot like that. It's nauseating to think about guys being together with me. Even like guys, like ugh. Let alone like some guy on, oh yeah, no, that ain't happening. Ew, to 1,000. So, I've had guys try, and I just, you know, no. And some like just indignant, just keep up like, look man, no means no, motherfucker. I ain't no fucking, no. Ew. So anyway, this guy was the ultimate hookup on Mexican weed. And at this time in Portland, it was pretty fucking pathetic because the feds had been in busting indoor grows and getting snitches, and weed prices were going out of the fucking out through the roof. My connections were shit. I had this guy Vince, and he would sell me like fucking wet weed. And then I had this guy, once the bust happened, once Stoggs got busted, turned into a situation where it was really hard to get weed. So I just started hooking up with this Gabe guy, but his weed was like Mexican or weird or, you know, outdoor. Everything pretty much fell apart that I had going on. Everything was in storage. And then moved in with Gabe for a second after Stoggs, after I ditched out of there. And things were just getting really bad. Like, I mean, it was like I just didn't have the money to buy the weed. It was hard to find good weed. I think I literally was homeless for one night. Like I don't know how much sleeping I got done, but I literally went underneath a bridge, a little bridge over a creek, and like tried to sleep, and so things got pretty freaking bad. I don't remember how long things were bad. I mean, literally, like, I had warrants for my arrest for shit. I was dealing with some sort of court bullshit. I was trying to sling this Mexican weed, and, you know, people in Portland are pretty picky. So sometimes it was okay, but sometimes it was just crap. So I was making less and less money. So I met Ed Davis through Dan and Johanna Dan. They grew up together. Dan and Ed were like childhood friends. Ed was a very interesting guy. He was not educated, but he'd read a lot. And he knew a lot of stuff about some very bizarre subjects. Music. He knew a lot about music. And he was like, I think he was he was a sharp, so it was one of those skinheads against racial prejudice. I'm pretty sure he was one of those. So, and I think him and Dan were from like Coos Bay, Oregon. And I was basically like, after the bus, I was like, Ed would always get weed from Dan, I think, his whole life. And then he started getting it from me. He had this one job. He was in school. He went to some like college-y, vocationally thing for maybe accounting or something like that. While he was doing that, he hooked up with this girl, but he really scored. I don't know what kind of person she was, because like she was one of those people that didn't want to hang out. Maybe that's a key to what type of person she was. She never wanted to hang out with his friends. Her parents were immigrants from some like Eastern European country or something like that. Parents backed the purchase of like a triplex, and they lived in one unit and rented the other 2 units out. And they were married. They were fully married. And he had some kind of job after he got out of the school, some kind of accounting job. All that was past. So about the time when Julie and I were breaking up, and I was just rock bottom, and he got a different job, I think. He got a different job, maybe, or he started working for U.S. Bank in the loan center. In a loan center, or in this loan center, you had like a few different kinds of sets of people. You had like the people that would answer the phone and take the information. Then you had the people that would verify the information. And then you had underwriters. And then you had managers. So I think Ed was the person that took the information on the phone. So basically he figured out a way by hooking up with people within his job, like just hooked up with like people he was working with, like selling them weed and shit, probably part of it, going out drinking with them. And so he gets it to where he knows that all the right people in the loan center, to where he can just push through a loan. So the like really good deal or whatever, I don't even know what to call it. I know what to call it, but I like the best product that they offered was a revolvable line of credit that had prime plus 3% or some shit interest rate. So I mean, really good deal. So basically, I was down and out, and he wanted weed, and he's like, and I'm like, yeah, I can get it, I just don't have any money. And he's like, well, all right, let's hook you up with a loan. But my name was already fucked because when Julie and I broke up, basically we were living like this. Like, we'd have a crop, we were growing a crop, and we were living off my credit cards. We'd have the crop, we'd pay off my credit cards, then we'd pretty much have a little bit of money beyond that, and then we'd start growing another crop. And then we kept doing that. Well, I charged up all my credit cards, no income. Yeah, so I had, my credit was FUBAR. I had like probably a warrant or 2 or 3. What I did was I used my little brother's name and social security number to get a loan because he was in the Marines, right? And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome for him. I'll freaking make his credit awesome. And, you know, by doing this whole thing and paying the payments, and that's what I was doing. Everything was groovy. Except we had this system set up, and it was like, let's make some money. We got all these people, basically Gabe's friends. So I had all these people, all these kids that were coming up from Eugene, just out of high school. So they hadn't really had any credit at all, none, zip, zilch, which was the best. And then I had them at the bank. And I was literally running, I went from being a weed dealer to a dude that drove around with a fucking suit, a briefcase full of loan applications. And I was selling these lines of credit for like, I don't remember what the damn percentage was or what the fees were, but you know, like these were like $20,000 revolvable lines of credit, low interest. And so I was selling them, like I'd get the guys the loan, and this wasn't like, nobody was supposed to be stealing from the bank. The money was supposed to finance operations. So somebody wanted to start a painting company, or somebody wanted to buy a bunch of weed, or somebody wanted to buy a house to start house flipping, you know. So it wasn't like, oh man, I'm gonna rip the bank off, yeah, it'll be great. No, that's not what that wasn't the intent at all, right? So Gabe had this fucking little slimeball loser friend, this guy Mike. And this guy Mike was a slimeball, thief, lying, no moral person. Just lying piece of human trash. Would just lie to people and would just scam people. I mean, he was a bad person. This guy was a total POS. Well, I went from being Gabe's #1 dude selling all this freaking weight of Mexican crap, moving, you know, massive weight for the guy, and you know, he's just racking up the bucks, overcharging like a motherfucker, I'm sure, you know, because he had the insane connects. So he's just making all this money off me, and then I start doing this whole loan thing, and I went from like him literally like, oh, you can stay at my house, right? So he's let me stay at his house, and then he kicked me out. After he kicked me out, that's when I got homeless, and then Ed hooked me up, and then I was doing a little bit of the weed shit, but I was like, you know what? Why would I even fuck with this weed shit? This could get me put in jail. I'm a loan officer now. I can just totally do whatever.